Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. In this video, I'm going to be tier ranking popular book talk books. I know there are probably way more than what I have here, but I'm just putting ranking the ones that I've read. And these are just my opinions. Everyone's gonna think differently about books. So let me first go over my tier list. So on the top, I have Best of the Best. These are like amazing books. Like I love them so much. They're on like my favorite book lists, and I just think they're amazing. And the second one we have is Deserve the Hype. I think they deserve to be hyped on TikTok. They deserve to go viral. They were really good, and they were just under like my favorite books. Not my favorite, but like up there. Then we have Okay. Like I would recommend them. I understand why they became viral, but like I don't think it was anything special. Then Overhyped. These books I think didn't deserve the hype. They weren't that good. There were so many other books that were better. And then last we have is Why. Like I just don't understand why these books are hyped and just why TikTok decided to make them go viral. So first we have The Night Circus by Erin Morgenstern, and this is going straight to the top. At first I didn't understand the hype for this book. I was like putting off reading it, but once I did, it's so good. I recommend it to everyone. It's just an amazingly written book. It's amazing. Then we have Every Last Word by Tamara Ireland Stone. I would say this book deserves the hype. It it was like a really good depiction of what the author was trying to convey, her message. And though I've read books in like the mental health sort of literary fiction category, YA, like that were better than this one, I thought this she did a good job, and it's good that it went viral. A lot of people reading it. So yeah. Then The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo by Taylor Jenkins Reid. This is also going straight to the top. This is my favorite Taylor Jenkins Reid book ever, and it's just amazing. It's like so good. Everyone needs to read it. Then we have Beach Read by Emily Henry. I would put this in Deserves the Hype. This is my favorite Emily Henry book. I've read all of her books, and I would say it out of all her books, this one deserves the hype the most. It's your typical romance, but it's like a really good one. Then we have The Midnight Library by Matt Haig. I actually didn't know this was a popular book talk book. I'm not sure if it is, but it came up in some list of like popular book talk books. I really liked it. I thought it was unique. I loved the way it was written, the plot. I think it deserves the hype. It was really interesting. I know a lot of people don't like it, but I really did. Then we have Book Lovers by Emily Henry. I'm gonna put this in okay, just because I didn't like it as much as Beach Read. I thought it was your mediocre normal romance. I understand why it did get hyped. I just think there are lots more that were better. Then for People We Made on Vacation by Emily Henry, I'm gonna put this in overhyped. I know this is probably like not what most people agree with, but I really didn't like People We Meet on Vacation. It's probably my least favorite Emily Henry book. I didn't like the characters, I didn't like the plot, I just didn't like the romance either. So yeah, I would say it was overhyped. Then we have The Wrath and the Dawn by Renee Ahdieh. I would put this in Deserves the Hype. I really enjoyed it. I would probably say that I think the first book is way better than the second book, but overall as a duology, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed like if we're just ranking the first book by itself, I would say it deserves the hype. It was interesting, and I think it did way better than The Shadows Between Us by Trisha Levenseller. I would put this in okay. It was not as good in The Wrath and the Dawn, even though they both had like a similar premise. It just fell flat. I think it was slightly overhyped. Like I understand, but I think it was just in the middle. It was okay. Then The Invisible Life of Ada LaRue by V.E. Schwab. This is going and deserves the hype. I thought it was unique. The ending absolutely, I did not see the ending coming. It crushed me. And I think aside from being a little bit too long, it was a really good book. Then we have The Silent Patient by Alex Michaelides. This one's a hard one for me because I've read a lot of thrillers, like a lot of thrillers, and I would not say this is one of the best ones that I've read. I actually feel like there are other thrillers that I wish got hyped instead of this one, but it was a solid thriller. I did guess like the ending, like people were like so surprised by the plot twist, but I kind of guessed it like way before. So I think it's in between okay and deserves a hype, but I'm just gonna put it in like the beginning of okay. Like I think it like I just feel like I've read so many thrillers that were way better, and I don't often see thrillers hyped on Book Talk. So for this one to be the one that became viral is like, yeah, no. Then we have Throne of Glass by Sarah J. Maas. This is like Sarah J. Maas is like super popular on Book Talk. And I will say out of her three series, Throne of Glass, A Court of Thorn and Roses, and Crescent City, this is the one I enjoyed the most. So I'm gonna put it in deserves the hype, closer to a little bit like in between, but closer to deserves the hype. I thought it was a good, solid fantasy series. I feel like it's good for like people who ha want the nostalgia from like old fantasy series like Harry Potter or Keeper of the Lost City, series like that. And then you're just a little older now. So I feel like it's good for like the nostalgia factor, but I feel like there are better fantasy books out there. But I think it deserves a hype for what it was. It was okay. Then The Love Hypothesis by Ali Hazelwood. I would put this in okay. I enjoyed it, but I never really think about it ever. It was just a typical romance, just like Book Lovers. Like it was okay, it was good, but I don't think it deserved like the massive hype that it got. Like I feel like there's so many romances out there that are way better. Then we have A Court of Thorn and Roses by Sarah J. Maas. This series, I only liked the second book, and even then I didn't like it that much. So I'm gonna put it in okay. I understand why people really enjoy it, but honestly, like it was just okay. Definitely Throne of Glass was much, much better. And Crescent City, I don't have on this list. I did because I didn't finish the first book. I started it, but or I finished the first book but never picked up the second. I think that's what it was. Honestly, I don't remember a thing that happened. So yeah, I didn't put it on this list, but if I did, it would probably go into overhype because I it was really boring. Then we have Malibu Rising by Taylor Jenkins Reid. I did not like this one as much as The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, but I think it did deserve the hype. All of Taylor Jenkins Reid's books, even the ones that didn't go viral on Book Talk, she has like some backlisted books too, I think. One of them was called, I think, One True Loves, and there was another book as well by her that I've read, and they were so good. Like I wish those became viral too. So just know that you should read all of Taylor Jenkins Reid's books, not just like the ones that became viral. But yeah, she's such a good author, and I love her books. Okay, then another Ali Hazelwood, Check in May. Honestly, I'm gonna say I enjoyed this even less than Love Hypothesis. I'm gonna put this in overhyped. I didn't feel the chemistry between the two characters. I thought they acted like way older. Like the book just seemed the way older than YA. Like I'm not sure why it was like sold as a YA book. And the ending was like I needed more chess. I needed more chess. It's called Check in May, and we didn't get any. It was like barely any chess and just a lot of I don't even know. Honestly, it was like really just wasn't that good. Okay, then we have All the Bright Places by Jennifer Niven. I'm gonna put this in okay. I feel like this is like everyone who reads this loves this book. I honestly didn't love it. I Yeah, I honestly didn't love it. I thought we needed a little more depth, a little more, but it like kind of all felt surface level, which I know if you read it, it might seem weird, but that's just how it felt to me. It was a good book. I think I would recommend it to people. I just don't think it deserved all the hype that it got. Then we have You Deserve Each Other by Sarah Hogel. I'm gonna put this one in okay as well. I know a lot of people love it, but I just felt like it was like sort of like a second chance enemies to lovers sort of thing. And I just thought they were way too mean to each other. Like I don't understand how they got together in the end after like all the stuff they did to each other. It was just I felt like it was exaggerated way too much. Should have been tamed down a bit, but it was okay. It was like the once we got past that, it was pretty good. Then Fourth Wing by Rebecca Yarros, probably the most viral book last year, or even I think, yeah, last year. I would put this in okay as well. I I've read it twice, so the fact that I reread it means I think I was just going through a romanticy phase where I was in the mood for romanticies, and I felt like the main character was a little bit too like, when it's like she like I'm kind of tired of the chosen one trope in like fantasy books where of course it's them, they have this power, the dragon chooses her, this and that. It was a bit too much of that. I didn't like the love interest that much. I feel like he was like everyone loves him, but I didn't like him that much. There was way too much focus on the romance and not enough on the fantasy. So I'm gonna put it in okay. I haven't read the second one yet, but people say it's even worse, so we'll see. Then we have Love and Other Words by Christina Lauren. I'm gonna put this in overhyped for sure. There was when I read this, I was like, what? Like everyone hypes up so much. Like it's like best romance, top books of all time for some people. And I thought, first of all, the characters acted way younger than they actually were. Like in the past scenes and in the present scenes, it was just super awkward and I didn't really like connect to the characters. Like, I mean, it just and then there was a scene in the book that don't want to spoil, but I felt like it was glanced over too quickly for what it was. I thought that the author like just like victimized one character but didn't really recognize what the other character went through. So yeah, I would say this was massively overhyped. Then In My Dreams I Hold a Knife by Ashley Winstead. I'm gonna put this in Deserves the Hype. I just recently read it and I really liked it. Like I thought it was a good mystery. I loved the past present timeline. The twists were pretty good. It was a little predictable, but also not. So yeah, I think it deserves the hype. It was a good thriller, dark academia thriller. Then we have A Thousand Boy Kisses by Tilly Cole. I'm gonna put this one in. Wait, no, not there. I'm gonna put this in deserves a hype. I think it was a really good, sweet romance. If you're looking for a sweet YA romance, but also that's sad, then you'll like it. For what it was, I think it was really good. It wasn't the best YA romance I've ever read, but it was a good one. Then The Cruel Prince by Holly Black. I've only read the first book in this trilogy, and for me, it deserved the hype. It was a great fantasy book. I'm gonna say a lot of people go into it expecting for there to be a lot of romance, but it's a more of like the fantasy, like kingdom and like the politics of the fantasy world. That's what it's more about, and that's what I really enjoyed. If you're in it for the setting, for the like Fae world setting, then you'll really like it. Like the vibes were immaculate in that book. I really liked it. And then, A Good Girl's Guide to Murder by Holly Jackson. Best of the best. I can't wait for the TV show that's probably going to be out by the time I post this video. But like, I'm so excited. This book was literally the best. Maybe like not even YA, but the best mystery I've ever read. The whole trilogy. It just got better and better. It was so good. I like always think about this book. Like I keep thinking about it. It's just so good. Then I think I made the last tier for this book. We Were Liars by E. Lockhart. Like, just why? I literally like everyone was like, oh, the twists, the turns, it- the unreliable narrator. I thought it was so boring and the writing style was so like almost unreadable. Like I don't understand why. One of Us is Lying by Karen M. McManus. I'm gonna put this in deserves the hype because even though I guessed the ending, it was still really interesting. I love how all of her books in this series have like the 4 points of view or the 3 points of view because it just keeps the pace going. Once you're bored with one, once you start getting bored, then you switch to another character. So the pacing in this book was really good. It was quick, quick, quick. The reveals were pretty good. The overall mystery, I think, was a little predictable, but I think it was a great YA mystery. Then Shadow and Bone by Lee Bardugo. Overhyped. It is nothing near Six of Crows, like not even close. Like not even in the same world. Like like I read Six of Crows and then I read Shadow and Bone. My expectations were here and they weren't met. Like it was just not good. I did not like Shadow and Bone at all. Just gonna do Six of Crows next because you probably know what's gonna go, but it was best of the best. Probably one of my favorite books of all time. The second book just gets even better. It's so good. Nothing close to Shadow and Bone. I would say just read Six of Crows and Crooked Kingdom. Don't bother with Shadow and Bone. It was so boring. It just wasn't good. Then The Hunger Games by Suzanne Collins. Hot take, but honestly, I feel like I enjoyed the movies more than the books, which barely ever happens, but I didn't really like the first book. So I'm just gonna put it in okay. I think everyone should read it because of the dystopian plot and because of how close society is going there today. Like, I think we should all learn the lessons from it, but as a story, I didn't really enjoy it that much. And I didn't really like the character. Actually, no, I like PETA, but other than that, I didn't really like the characters. Divine Rivals by Rebecca Ross, also probably after Fourth Wing, the most viral book of last year. It deserves the hype. It was a great, like, I think you call it an urban fantasy where it almost seemed like it was set in our world, but it was just a little different. The characters were amazing. The romance was amazing. The cliffhanger at the end was amazing. A lot of people say they don't like the second book, but I really enjoyed the second book. So, yeah, go into it knowing that there's a cliffhanger, though. You have to read both books. But I think it deserved the hype. Once Upon a Broken Heart by Stephanie Garber. I'm just okay, so I like the second book the best, but I'm just gonna put it as a series up in best of the best. I literally love this series so much. The second book especially. Just imagine that's the second book. Third book, I agree with most people that it wasn't up to the par of the first two books, but it was in no way bad. It was like a great series. I loved the characters. The romance was just hitting the entire time. Best of the best. The Summer Broken Rules by K.L. Walther. It deserved the hype. I literally read this book, went to sleep, woke up, and then read it again because I loved it so much. I think I've reread it like 3 or 4 times. It's such a good romance. Like the family reunion setting is so fun. And there's also like a coming of age, sort of grappling with a family member's death. Like there's a lot of like mature themes, but also like in like a light setting. Like it's a great summer read. I loved it. You've Reached Sam by Dustin Tao. I would put this in okay. I didn't think it was anything special. I didn't really enjoy it that much. I thought it was a little bit weird, like I didn't really get it. I know that was the point, but I still like the whole time I was just like not getting it. So that made it not that enjoyable, but I think I would recommend it to people. I just wouldn't read it again for myself. Daughter of the Pirate King by Trisha Levenseller. This was much better than The Shadows Between Us. I would put this in deserves the hype. The whole duology, like the second book was really good too. The romance was good. The setting though, I like the Cruel Prince. Go into this for the setting, the pirate setting, like on the sea, in the ship, everything like that. It was good. I think it deserves the hype. Better than the movies by Lynn Painter. My favorite YA romance of all time. I don't think I've ever heard a negative review about this book, like ever. It's the perfect childhood friends, enemies, fake dating to lovers, like all of that. It has everything you'd want, like quotes at the beginning of each chapter. The characters are like literally like the best. I can't wait for the sequel. I'm afraid sort of that it's not going to live up to the expectations of the first book, but like it's literally my favorite YA romance and I've read like a lot. Oh, no, actually the last tier was made for this book. The Summer I Turned Pretty by Jenny Han. Why? Like I'm actually sincerely I feel like if anyone likes this book, it's a guilty pleasure. Like it's just like you're reading it knowing that it's bad, but you're still enjoying it. I literally can't with the book or the TV show, anything about it. The selection by Kira Cass, I don't think it was overhyped, but I also don't think it was great. I enjoyed this series, but it was a like in the way that it was a guilty pleasure. Like I knew what I was reading was not that good, but I was just invested in the story and the characters. But yeah, it was too like what do you call it? Too like everything took too long. The whole plot was just stretched out to cover the first three books. And don't even get me started on the last two books. Those would go in Y, but they weren't hyped up on TikTok, so Shatter Me deserves the hype. Even though we all know that Warner and Kenji carried this series on their back, I don't think it was overhyped. I think it deserves the hype. It's a great dystopian book. The romance is like literally only go into this if you're like a romance fan because that's literally everything that's good about this book. But the plot is good too. The world building is pretty good. The characters are good. Next, we have If He Had Been With Me by Laura Nowlin. Mm, this book deserves the hype. It deserves the hype, yeah. I I didn't sob like everyone said I would, but I thought it was good. I don't understand why everyone was so actually no, I do understand. I do understand. The ending, I think was sad for a different reason than I thought it would be. But yeah, it was a heartbreaking book. It was a little bit like we went through 4 years. The book like goes over 4 years, which it felt a little bit long. And it was like we weren't getting to the ending fast enough, but I think it was really good and it deserves the hype. A lot of people didn't like the second book. I enjoyed it though. I liked getting the three different perspectives that we got. Even though it felt kind of repetitive, I still enjoyed it. Now, lastly, Love Theoretically by Ali Hazelwood was better than The Love Hypothesis. But yeah, actually, I'm gonna put this in Deserves the Hype, but way at the end of Deserves the Hype. Nowhere near like The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue or The Wrath in the Dawn or The Midnight Library, but I think it was slightly above The Love Hypothesis. If you're gonna choose any Ali Hazelwood book to read, just go with Love Theoretically. I think it was okay. It was like the best of her work, in my opinion. It did deserve the hype slightly. I think every book deserves to be hyped just because it was written, like all the amount of work that goes into it, but some books more than others. And The Summer I Turned Pretty, not at all, just because of the plot. But like, why would you write something like that? I don't understand. But yeah, so this is my final ranking. I think most books I felt like did deserve the hype, but we did have some that I felt were okay. Read whatever seems interesting to you. These are just my opinions. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.